Welcome to the Printed by Mama podcast with me, your host, Kirsty Field, supporting small business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives and crafters, encouraging you guys at home to just keep crafting and create a life you love without sacrificing yourself or your family. Each week I'll be bringing you inspiration, support and guidance on how to turn that hobby or side hustle into your dream job. And I'll be joined by some amazing guests who are already living their dreams. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Welcome friends, it's your host Kirsty Field here, wife, mama, small business owner, mentor and generally crazy crafty lady. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the PBM podcast. If you are brand new, hello, welcome. It's fabulous to have you here, and if you have come back, thank you. Again, my dulcet brummy tones have not turned you off, so I am thrilled to have you back here with me. And it's Sunday, so of course you guys will know by now this is the Sunday Social, where I invite one of my fabulous friends, one of the PBM community, to come on and talk to you guys all about them, what it is that they do. They're going to talk to us about their hobby, small business, big business, craft, side hustle, or whatever else you want to call it. And they're going to give us some details about how they got there, what it is that they do. And we're going to learn all about them and make new friends. So I am delighted to invite today's guest to start talking to us. She's the creative mind, maker, and the head spooky witch herself. I want you to say hi to Toni Bradshaw of Spooky Witch Designs. Hello, Toni.
Hey, Kirsty, thank you so much for that beautiful intro. I feel so very honoured. And
you are very welcome. Very welcome, darling. Very welcome. So, Spooky Witch Designs. It's a fabulous name, I have to say. I do like a bit of spook in my life. Absolutely so. Why don't you start by sort of telling the community a little bit about Spooky Witch Designs, how you came about, what it is that you do, so that we can learn some more all about you.
Certainly. So, hello, everybody. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Kirsty, again. So, as Kirsty said, my name is Toni, and I am the head witch here at Spooky Witch Designs. So, I've always been a very creative, crafty, artsy type of person. At school, I did anything arty that I could get my hands on. I did A-level art, GCSE art, you name it, I did it. The painted sets for the plays, etc., etc. But I always felt that it was something that I needed to do more of. So when you leave school, I don't know about most of you, but a lot of those things, they kind of naturally end.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a case of that sucks big time. And then if you want to carry it on, you have to go to like an adult ed or something like that. You have to pay for it, and that really sucks. So I just carried on doing it, and then every Christmas, every birthday, it's like I need art materials. So over time, I've built up this great big sort of craft room, I suppose. Although I'd say it's a craft house, because every part of my house there's something in it that I can be creative with. So I like knitting, I like drawing, I like painting. And one of my most recent things that I found during the lockdown, which I think a lot of people sort of discovered new things and tried different techniques and things that they wanted to do. So mine was, as somebody put it, painting with fire.
Oh, we like that
term. So for those who, it's pyrography. So it's basically like a little mini pen that you plug in, turn the heat up, and you do your designs on any type of wood. Types of wood that you use, you do have to be careful with, because if some of them have got lacquers on them, you have to do it in a ventilated area. They do give off a bit of a whiff. I have before now been burning something. My eyes have been streaming because there's been something on it. So I've had to stop and abandon that project and find a more suitable piece of wood. But yeah, I was just here in the lockdown, and I thought, I've got my watercolors and I've got everything else, and I wanted a challenge. I was at home. I wasn't bored as such, because let's be honest, it was nice to be home. I work full time otherwise. So it was nice to have that time and just to sort of rediscover what I'd felt I'd lost a little bit by not being at school anymore. I mean, I've been to school for 20 odd years, but we never age.
We don't talk about that. Don't talk about it.
No, we don't talk about age. But I just wanted something that was different, something that I could challenge myself with. And I don't even know how I got into it. It might have been a YouTube video. I really can't remember now. It's been a couple of years, and I just said to my husband, I want to give this a try. Went on to a website that shall remain nameless. And I got loads of stuff that I needed there, got it all here, and literally was hooked, absolutely hooked. And I really love the smell of plywood when it's burning. And a lot of people sort, they might think, oh, that's a bit odd and a bit weird. You love the smell of burning wood. And I'm like, well, I do. Some people like the smell of cut grass. Some people like the smell of fresh cut flowers. I like the smell of burning wood. Especially when it's right under your nose,
Mm-hmm.
I do wear a mask. I am quite sensible, and I do
Safety
try to do it.
first. Safety first. Yep.
Absolutely. Because there's nothing worse than feeling a bit ill trying to do it. I have burnt my fingers on the pen where I've just not been paying attention and got distracted and burnt myself. But the whole pyrography thing then sort of stemmed into, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can sell some of it, see if other people are interested. In the beginning, it was really nice because people were really complimentary. Oh, that's really nice, that's really clever. But I found I was doing designs that I liked, so not necessarily selling anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought, how can I get myself out there? How can I appeal to a wider audience? Obviously, I'm called Spooky Witch, so a lot of the stuff I was doing was aimed at a certain genre of people, shall we say. My kind of people. I love Halloween. I love everything spooky. I am actually a witch,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm pagan. I follow all the rules and everything for that, as paganism will do. But I just thought I want to make it that we're not. I didn't want to be put in a box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to say, look, yeah, I am this. I'm a witch, and I do this and I do that. But we're fabulous people.
Yeah.
We love it. So yeah, it just started from there, and then I did in-person markets,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one was okay. I don't think the good people of the town I was in were quite ready for my alternative, unique design.
Love
Shall we
it.
say? There's only
Love
so
it.
many skulls and cauldrons and brooms that people can take.
Yes, especially in July. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in July,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, the first one I did was April, so it was
Ah, there you
like
go. Yeah. Yeah.
Easter holidays. It was like, yeah, maybe I could have picked my time in a bit better. But yeah, as I've done more and more of these in-person markets, people have got to know me. They've got to know, actually, yeah, she does really nice stuff. And recently I went through a bit of not a rebranding as such, but I thought about the stuff that I burn and how it's more of the sort of thing that if I went to a market and I'd be like, oh, that's great, I'll have that. So, and I think a lot of us sometimes we think we do things because we like it, but it's not necessarily everybody else's taste.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was a case of, okay, what can I do that other people would like?
Yeah.
And there's only so much that you can do with a wooden product. So it's like gift boxes. You can burn a gift box, you can burn plaques, you can burn log slices and things like that. So a lot of my items are decor,
Mm-hmm.
for the home and things like that. They're decorative, not always a useful thing apart from the boxes. So it kind of just leads to, okay, so what else could I do then? I recently did a dog show.
Wow.
And that was amazing. I was there the whole day, had all my little bits out and on my table. It was brilliant. I was surrounded by dogs all day. So what wasn't to love? And it was a lovely hot sunny day.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to think about it and thought, I'm going to a dog thing. So a lot of the things I did were dog themed. So I did coasters. I've got a friend who cuts a lot of my MDF shapes for me. He did me dog bones. So I did personalized dog bones,
So
lead
cute.
holders, some, beautiful things like that. And yeah, I did okay. I had a few sales,
Good.
but the thing for me is the social side of it,
Yeah.
and getting the name of Spooky Witch out there, which was really, really nice. And people are like, oh, so you're called Spooky Witch, but there's nothing on here that's spooky. And that made me laugh because I was like, I'm not rebranding my name.
No. No.
And I did say to him, I said, well, I do other stuff. I say, oh, obviously the stuff I've brought today is dedicated for dogs and all things dogs and canine. But if you look on my Facebook page, here's everything else that I do. And yeah, that brought a few people in. But I do a lot of online markets as well,
Yeah.
which are designed for the Halloween alternative community. So I do quite a lot of sales there when we do online markets once a month, and that's really, really great. And of course, you find other people that are like you,
Mm-hmm.
that are interested in the same things that you like. So you feed off each other.
Yeah.
And the amount of inspiration that I've had from other artists, not even necessarily pyrography artists, but just so many people. I mean, it's like resin and painting and everything else, and it's just so amazing. But pyrography is just a really nice way to chill and relax, and it pushes me to be a bit more creative, because wood is such, it can be quite expensive when you buy it. You
Mm.
really think about what you want to put on it, so you're not wasting it.
Oh gosh, yeah. I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, and it is like that with some materials, isn't it? That you do have to
Yeah.
be quite cautious about what you do, because at the end of the day, if you've got an outlay for this, you do have to consider that.
Yeah.
Just hearing your story, and as I say, having had a little look on some of the products that you made and things, the dog bones really jumped out to me. I was like, yes, I love that. So cool. Everybody loves a bit of personalisation. It's the thing.
Absolutely,
now,
yeah.
isn't it? And it's just, I love that you have been able to be so adaptive with what you do and looking for those, although you are very niched in terms of your brand, for example, exactly what you said. Spooky Witch is you. That's you. And it just like Printed by Mama is me. That, I'm not necessarily selling as much print stuff as I anticipated I will be, but not right now. And that's me, that's my brand. So I'm not going to change that for anyone, because I don't want to be exactly like you, boxed into somebody saying to me, that is it, that is all you can do, because that's your brand name, and that's it. You being able to be adaptive and use those skills that you've gained to slot yourself into these situations, these scenarios, like that dog market, to be able to put yourself in a different scenario and sell your products is fantastic. And I know a lot of the community will be really inspired by you saying that you were able to step outside your comfort zone, because it was a sales opportunity that you knew you didn't want to miss.
Yeah, absolutely. And and just, if I've got anything to say to anybody, any of your listeners, just say, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't be frightened, be brave, be courageous, and just go for it. And I think, a lot of the time people had so much time to think during COVID.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people sort of refound themselves again, and I really sort of came out. I always knew I was, how can I say, not different, but
we like
never,
different. We like different at PBM. We're all a bit
been
different,
odd.
but that's why we're together, because we're all different together. So that's the community. That is us. Welcome to the different.
Welcome to the odd one. And I just think, it's time that she came out, and doing that, obviously, that helped my mental health as well. So being able to be me freed me a little bit more of being who I was expected to be.
Yeah.
So being able to put that into my artwork as well, is just, that's my happy place. It is my happy place.
We do talk so much about that on PBM, that it is more about, I've recently recorded a podcast about not putting a value on numbers. It, validation is not by numbers, and it shouldn't be. I feel very strongly about the fact that it shouldn't be about how much money you're making or how many Facebook followers you've got. When it comes to doing what you do, you have to love it, and that is more important than anything else. That gratification that you get from cutting that dog bone out, and or whatever it may be, making those witchy items that you love yourself, that is more gratification than any number on a sheet of paper or a screen will give you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So
I also find anything that I make because I think, I quite like that. So if it doesn't sell, it's a win-win. I've got something that
I think that's called, I'm going to coin this term now, right? Because I don't think there's actually a term for it that I know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows, but crafter's gratification is what I'm calling it, where you make something and you're like, meh, it might sell, it might not sell, but that's all right, because I'm going to keep it anyway. Or like I do a lot in my house, which you probably do with your kids as well. I know you've got kids. You'll make something and they'll be like, oh, I like that. And I'll be like, oh, we'll just have it. It's just a sample one or whatever. And then I'll never see it again and it's gone. Or if I make something and for example, I only bought enough to make half a dozen, I'll know that one of those half a dozen is gone. There's no, either I'm keeping it or I'm giving it to one of the kids, and I'm only ever going to have 5 to sell. So I have to make sure that I take that into account when I'm buying materials and stuff, because that's just how it happens. How it happens. Your little fans, aren't they, your kids? You got 2 daughters, right?
I got 2 girls, yeah. Yeah, one's year 6, so she's currently away on her residential.
Oh, bless her.
And the other one's 16, so she's doing her GCSE. So
it's
very
tense in your household.
Tense household at the moment, but they're taking it in their stride and they're doing really well. And
good.
The youngest, my littlest one, she's also quite crafty and creative.
Fab.
We paint, we draw, we do the sewing machine. So on occasions she's been like, Mum, can you show me how to do this? And I'm like, absolutely, yeah, come in.
I love that. I got to say, as a mama, that is probably one of my favourite things about doing what I do, that I can, pass those on to the next generation, because my mum wasn't crafty at all. Like she would repair, put buttons back on or sew in the night, because obviously they didn't have these fancy iron-on clothing labels like we do nowadays for our kids. It was those massive long tapes of your name, and you had to cut them all up and sew them all in, right? So my mum's poor hands, bless her. And that was about the extent of her craft. She didn't do any DIY or anything like that, but being able to do that with my girls and pass that down the next generation is just so satisfying to me. And my youngest, she's nearly 7, bless her, but she will come to me quite often and go, when I was writing my books, for example, when I was doing my published books, she was coming to me and going, Mum, look, I've made, and she'd get the paper out with the staples and she's made her own book and the drawings, and I'm knowing that has come from what I've shown her is just so amazing. There's no feeling like it.
You're an inspiration, aren't you? And who better to inspire than your children and other young children? And I actually work in a school. I'm a TA.
You're a busy lady, yeah.
I'm a busy lady, and I do Monday to Friday, so I get the holidays off, which I won't lie is absolutely amazing. Love that.
Jealous.
But then when I'm at work, I'm focused on the kiddies, and quite often they'll be like, "Oh, Mrs. Bradshaw's there. She'll show you how to do it." And I absolutely love it. So not only am I teaching my kids, or my youngest, my eldest, not so crafty, bless her. She's more academic. She's got the brain of a Einstein. She's so clever. Not let me. My talents lie elsewhere, should we say?
Same.
When the little ones come up to me and they're like, Mrs. Bradshaw, how can we do this and this and this? And quite often you don't have time to think or research. You just have to go and do.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, right, what have we got in the cupboards? Let's have a look. And then we create something together. And, and quite often it does look like a 5-year-old's done it, but that's the whole point of it. It doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
And I think, also that's the important thing to take away from a lot of the craft stuff that we do. A lot of it is trial by error.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do it first time, it doesn't come out, but again, you do try and really make it work, because materials and everything can be quite pricey.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's absolutely lovely. But yeah, so when I'm not at work, that's when I'm kind of, right, what can I do now? I never stop.
No, never stop. Never stop.
The brain is always ticking over.
I think it is. I think it's just one of those, nowadays everybody's brain seems to be ticking over. There's never enough hours in the day. If I could invent some sort of machine that stretched the day out a little bit and gave you just a few more extra hours, I'd like some hours to be Kirsty at some point, but it goes without saying, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. But I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the pyrography. I've been practicing saying that all day, I have to say, because I say it when I'm not thinking about it, I say it fine, but when I think about it too much, I say it completely wrong, and so I usually just say pyro, because it's just easy. We're all a pyro, right? So obviously, in terms of, for those of I've had a little dabble at it myself, and I love it, and I'm completely in the same remit as you. I love that smell of burnt wood. There's something about it. It's like the smell, like you said, of grass or petrol. Some people love it, some people hate it. So I've had a little go myself, and I know it's super fun. I know actually that it's a lot more difficult than it looks, especially sort of keeping control of the pen, and making sure that it does what you want it to do. And it is so easy to cock up on it, absolutely so, because once you sneeze halfway through and you've wrecked that design is wrecked. There's no resolving that. There's no rubbing it out or redoing that little section. That
There's no way
blank, that
back.
blank
Once
is
you've
done.
made a mistake, that's it.
That's it. That's
But
it.
I do find picking the wood, so the wood type is quite important. So as I mentioned, I've got wood slices or log slices, but of course they've got rings in them.
Yes.
So you can draw your design. So I always draw my design on first. I never go straight in with the pyro pen unless it's wording, then that's fine. Generally, if it's a picture or design or something, I sketch that on first, and I'll know generally by sketching on it how it's going to pyro,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense. So with the rings, you'll draw over your design, and then you'll start burning. But if you come across a knot or a ridge in the wood, that can sometimes affect the way that it burns.
Makes sense.
So you might have it on the temperature I tend to go for is 200. That gives a nice glow, it gives a nice burn, again on the log slices. But I'm finding sometimes if I'm going across a bit that's got a ring around it, that might catch, so it burns a bit longer and a bit quicker. But it only takes that second, and it's like, damn it, that's a lot darker than the bit before it. So then you've got to go over the other bits to make them the same color. And then it's like, okay. And it's constantly thinking, because like you say, you can't rub it out. There is no way of going back. Once it's on there, it's on there. A bit like a tattoo, really.
Yes.
Once it's done, it's done.
And we've all got some of them that we regret, haven't we? You know. Oh yes.
Oh, yes. But that for me is part of the challenge as well.
Yeah.
And I could buy wood that is just nice and blank and plain and nothing in it, but then that's fine. If I've got something like a commission work, then I will really sort of look at the wood that I'm using, and I'll get the best of the best, so to speak. But again, you factor that into your costing and your pricing.
Yeah.
If it's something for me that I know I just want to have around the house, then if it's something that I've chopped off a bit of a tree outside in the garden, then that's fine. And I'll tend to use that. But a lot of the time it is the type of wood that you use, the settings that you have, and of course the end of the pyro tool. So my pyro tool has numerous nibs, so to speak, so I can change them and interchange them for any sort of design that I want to do. So I've found recently that where I was using one that looked like it had a ball on the end for writing, if you use a different head that's got more of a flat edge, you can get more coverage.
Yeah.
And it's almost then like you're writing with a calligraphy pen.
Of course. Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
it completely changes how you use it as well, and how you hold the pen. And also, one thing to mention with mine, when I'm holding the pen at 200 degrees, the end of that pen will get quite warm.
Yes.
So I can only pyro for about 40 minutes before I put it down, give my fingers time to sort of come back to some sort of normality and feeling, and then just go back to it afterwards. But yeah, I just love it though.
Would you say that your business is probably now moving more in the direction of just focusing on the pyro? Because I know you are a super crafter. You sew, you paint, you do a bit of everything. You like me, like I've already said to the community, I'm a jack of all trades, and you're exactly the same.
Yeah.
Would you say that you potentially think you're moving more into the pyro to stick within that remit? Do you discount working with other materials in the future, or what would you say?
I'd say I wouldn't discount working with other material. A lot of it, and I'm quite a fickle, undecisive person, if I'm honest. A lot of the time I will go with a craft that I feel that I'm in the mood for. So at the moment, a lot of the markets I do, I am sort of known as the pyro lady, the lady that does, she's the pyro tools.
Oh, watch out, the pyro lady's here.
The pyro lady's coming, yeah. So a lot of my stuff will be the pyro stuff, but I do enjoy the other craft as well. And I think it's important to keep ideas different, because then it's fresh, nothing becomes stagnant. So last Halloween, for example, I made trick or treat bags that can be reused year after year. I'm one of these, I try not to use too much plastic.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that kids go trick or treating. My husband absolutely abhors it. He says it's not. We like chalk and cheese, but we get on so well, and I think that's why we're so opposite. So he doesn't do trick or treating. I do, but I just thought I want kids to be able to go out and enjoy it, but I also want them to be sensible about it
Yeah.
and not get all these like little treat bags that are plastic, so it's just filling up landfill. So I thought, okay, so I bought some fabric, Halloween fabric, and I made little mini tote bags and little trick or treat bags, and they actually sold really well. So again, it still goes with the aesthetic of Spooky Witch, and I must admit, I do much better in the month of October,
Yeah.
than I do the rest of the year. But like with the dog show, I've adapted the items that I make, so to speak, to fit in with those. So the sewing definitely will be staying on the table for the near future. The pyro, the thing that I have noticed that has sort of fallen by the way is watercolors.
Yeah.
So before I discovered pyrography, I was watercolors. That was always on my desk. There was always a pot of water. The paints were always out. The pages were always there. But now when you look at stuff, it is generally the pyro tool.
Yeah. I think that's a natural transition, isn't it? Exactly like you said, you will phase in and out. I think once you've been bitten by the multi-craft bug, you're always going to be, if I see something, Pinterest is the worst place for me to go. Like, you will lose me. You could lose me for days in Pinterest.
Yeah.
If I see something on there and I'm like, oh, what's that? Let's go look, and then all of a sudden I've bought all the materials for it, and it's something I've never done, and then I'm away, and there's no stop, and then before you know it, it'll be, oh, there's something. Oh, gee, and my husband, Paul, your house sounds like my house. I could pretty much open a Hobbycraft just literally here, and it would be fully stocked, and I'd probably make a ton of money off it. But one last thing I want to ask you before we sort of look at, because I mean we've been chatting so much already. I don't know about you, the time goes so fast on these things. It's ridiculous.
Already, hasn't it?
I wanted to sort of see where you're sort of, because at the moment you're selling through Facebook. What would you sort of say is your sort of hope, your goal, your dream? Where are you looking at taking Spooky Witch Designs moving forward in the future?
I would really love to do more in-person markets.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite a sociable person. I like people. I like talking to people. I will go into a room and make friends straight away. I'll be the only one that's gone in there with not knowing anybody, and I'll still be able to manage to talk to someone, whether they want it or not. They've got it. So I think that'd probably be it, is to do more in-person markets, but more sort of maybe of the alternative
variety,
which isn't. I live down in the southeast. There's not many of those type of markets here, so I'm kind of reliant on the online ones.
You should start one up yourself.
I could do. I have looked into it, and there's so much that goes with it.
I know. It's. I'm gonna hint that it's something that I'm looking at doing national, like across the UK, setting them up through people. This is the first time I've even mentioned it. It's on my wish list of things to look at doing, bringing sort of all small market holders together, because I'm like you. I love the interaction. I love the face to face, and I missed it so much during COVID. And I think don't get me wrong, online markets are amazing. It's a great new space to be able to utilize, but footfall is never guaranteed, and it's so different from the face-to-face interaction. And if you enjoy that and you like that and it comes naturally to you like it does to me, we're in the same boat there. It is so difficult to not have that, and I'm so pleased that face-to-face craft markets are coming back and that people are attending them again and things. I mean, they're not back up to where they were pre-pandemic, not at all, but it's definitely getting there, I think, this year. And I think it's back with a vengeance, which is great. So go for it, girl. I'd totally be down there doing more.
That's where I want to head for. And then because a lot of them are done at weekends, which is fine with me. I work Monday to Friday, so a weekend market, absolutely spot on. Be perfect.
You got it, girl. So obviously you do on Facebook at the moment. So
yes.
Are you going to be looking into the website market yourself, or e-commerce,
or on the horizon?
Okay.
I've just set up an email address for myself. So that was quite clever. I'm not great with technology as such.
You're not the only one. I'll be honest. With a lot of our community aren't, because it's not something that they prioritise because they're too busy making stuff, which is fine.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, sometimes, eventually, unfortunately, nowadays you've got to jump in, haven't you? You've got to jump. You've got to get on board with everybody else.
This is the way it's going. The future is technology, but
it is.
Yeah, so it will be something that Spooky Witch will do eventually, maybe this time of year, but I'm not going to rush into it. I'm just going to enjoy what I'm doing and enjoy the time that I've got with my girls, because they're their priority.
You'll be kicking them out before you know it. They'll be gone, and then you'll have their rooms for additional craft storage. Yeah.
You're a bad influence.
That's me, the baddest influence there is. Hun, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Spooky Witch Designs on Facebook is where we can find you to have a look at all your goodies. So I want everybody right now to go over to Spooky Witch Designs on Facebook and make sure you like Toni's page, please. That would be much appreciated. Thank you. And whilst you are on Facebook, I want you to make sure that you go to the Printed by Mama page and also the community group, that private group where we can all have a gossip and a natter and nobody knows about it because it's a private group. So make sure you go over there and have a look as well. Pop on printedmama.com, which is of course our website, for more information. And yeah, this is today's Sunday Social with fabulous Toni. I'm thrilled that you were able to join us. Thank you so much for sharing. It is amazing. What you make is fantastic. Don't you dare stop, girl, otherwise I shall have words with you. And yeah, I'm gonna sign off now and say thank you to everybody for listening, and we will be back with you for a Sunday Social again next week with another amazing guest. Thank you, Toni.
Awesome. Stay spooky.
Stay spooky, folks. See you soon. Bye bye.